to Holyhills Radio. This is Queen Joyce back again on Echoes of Grace. Today we have two lovely young ladies here. They're going to introduce themselves shortly. And the topic we'll be discussing today is college life. College life and just how we're getting through it, what we're experiencing, and how God plays a huge role in all of that as well. So, if you'd like to introduce yourself for the people, go ahead. This is the main, my main interviewee, and she's here as well, but, yeah. Go ahead.
So, I'm Judith. I'm Ponsa. I attend the Ohio State University. I'm a freshman, enter into my second semester. 19. That's pretty much it.
Okay, it's Michelle back again. I now attend Columbus State Community College. I am 18 years old, and yeah, life is going.
Cool. You said you attended which college?
The Ohio State University.
Oh, great. Great. That's a good school. So what made you choose OSU? Did your parents have a huge role in that? Was it your decision? Because I know a lot of students, a lot of young people just want to get out of where they're at, like if you're in Columbus, you want to get out of Columbus. If you're in Cincinnati, you want to get out of Cincinnati, Go be on your own and experience college life. So what made you choose OSU?
Well, because it was close to home.
Okay, you wanted to be close to home?
No, honestly, I didn't want to be close to home. But
okay.
My parents actually kind of influenced the choice, and many other elderly people who spoke to my parents and I spoke to.
Did your parents want you close to home?
Yeah, I would say they really wanted me close to home, and I didn't originally want to go there, but now that I enter into it, I kind of like it because it's close to home, and I feel like if I was out, I might not get the resources that I need quicker, So I like it. Same education everywhere.
Cool. Michelle, what influenced your choice?
What influenced my choice? I kind of just I could have went to other colleges, but with the first of all, college is expensive. So, going to Columbus State was just, the ideal place to go, especially because, I'm not too sure exactly what I want to do. It's kind of, in between, but I think Columbus State was, the best, ideal place to go just because, and it's close to home.
I get it.
So,
it saves money. You guys are saying close to home. You guys act like you want to be
home. We don't.
Well, not really, but...
Why not? What's wrong with home? Why don't you want to be home?
Well, I feel like when everybody graduates from high school, they want to go far away. I don't want to be next to home. I want to party. I want to do all that. So I feel like it's kind of hyped. It's kind of hyped. Okay, I want to go do what I want. When I'm away from home, it's freedom. But I feel like you still have that freedom when you're kind of close to home and stuff. So,
not the same kind of freedom you would get being at home.
Yeah, I feel like it would honestly be different. If I was not close to home, yeah, I think it would be different. But
do you live at home or on campus?
Okay, so I don't live at home, and I also don't live on campus. So I have an apartment that's close to campus.
Gotcha.
That I drive to.
Yeah. How's that been? What's the differences about being home, being on campus?
Honestly, I wouldn't really know how it would be. On
do you
campus,
feel like you've grown a lot? Has it forced you to kind of grow?
I feel it's kind of a lot of responsibility when you have your own apartment and stuff. So you're paying your own bills and stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah, but I feel okay, so you live in an apartment close to your school, but as for me, I live at home, so I could probably see the difference between when I go over to Judith's apartment and when I'm at home. I'm a little more, I probably feel a little more, restricted at home because, I live at home. They have to tell me, But, but with Judith, she could probably, do, more than I could. from
Yeah,
just being...
it's like freedom as well.
More freedom.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I get that.
What career are you going into?
So
Career choice, do you know?
So far as of now, I'm going to nursing.
Okay.
I'm gonna be a neonatal nurse, and I also have some backup plans and stuff like that.
Okay. Why did you choose nursing?
Well, I always like had a passion, like I just cared for people, but I want to go into like the neonatal field because like I feel like babies shouldn't be in pain. Like, you know, it's like they're so cute, they're so tiny, they're so fragile. And it's like it's so sad to just step into this world and have like complications, like, you know.
Yeah.
So I like kind of want to relieve their pain and help them like get
Be
back
a
to their
problem
families,
solver.
basically.
Okay, that's good. That's a good reason. A lot of people a lot of Africans that I ask, like, why do you choose to go to this field or that? A lot of times if it's nursing, it's because, like, you know, family pressures, familial pressures, or if it's a doctor or whatever. A lot of people don't choose it on their own, I would say. But, hey, if you decided on your own that you wanted to be a nurse, congratulations. More props to you. Yeah. Okay. So, let's get into the nitty-gritty. Let's get into the college lifestyle, how you guys are living. So, just walk us through your first year of college. How was it?
First year.
Why do you say, How was your first year being in
Not like
college?
it's bad or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Well, first year I didn't know what to expect. I was kind of like scared because I'm like, oh my god, like high school to college, that's like a lot of work to do. And I heard good things, I heard bad things. So it's like it was up to me to experience it. So like my experience for it, now that I like first semester is over, I would say it was kind of easy for me. Everybody's kind of different. Like the transition was like kind of easy for me. Okay. Their workload is a lot. Like you actually have to study. Like high school,
sure.
like it's so different. Like, you do not have to study for nothing.
High schools are chilling right now. Just wait.
When you get to college, I'm telling you, like it's really a different heat. Like I'm not even gonna lie.
I honestly never used to study up until like about last semester. Literally last semester is when I started actually sitting down, using my time, saying, okay, I need to study from this time to this time. Before that, no, I wasn't really a studying kind of person, studious person.
Yeah, I never really wanted to study. I would like study like a period before the class and like easy A, but like I cannot do that. Last minute studying is not going to work.
It's definitely not gonna work in college. They don't. I mean, I hate to say it, but they don't really care. Either you go with the flow,
or you get left behind.
Or you're getting left behind.
Definitely those lecture classes, and you have to take your own notes. Nobody's gonna hold your hand like, here, copy this. It's up to you. Like you, really, who's your grade?
It's all in your. Well, it's all in your hands, basically.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
so take college seriously. High schoolers, seniors, getting ready to graduate. It's a different environment. It's a different ball game. Yeah. What would you say was your biggest change
for like
in college from being a senior in high school to being a college student?
Like,
what was your biggest change?
Like picking my own class schedules and then like
something you never got to do before.
Yeah, because like high school is like so everybody wakes up at 6 or something, 7, 12 periods, like 10 periods and stuff is like a routine, like you know.
Your schedule's kind of set.
Like in high school, I said high school. In college, it's like totally different. You can pick your class times. So like, I mean, don't try to do morning classes because it's different. Like college morning is different. I cannot wake up for college time. It hurts. I mean, I never skipped any classes, so don't skip. But I like that freedom that you get to pick like your time. When you want to do math, like English, but if you don't do it on time, you're stuck with the 7 p.m. classes or something like that.
I don't like evening classes.
Evening, no.
Or early morning classes.
Yeah. But sometimes you gotta take the 3-hour math classes. Like, man, that's what I'm taking right now.
Me too.
But that's what I like about college. You gotta get to pick your time, and it doesn't feel like a routine. Like I feel like I like it how it's like that. So it's like say 2 classes on Monday, 1 class on Tuesday, 3 classes on Wednesday. It's like
no class on Friday.
No class on Friday, right? So it's like. I don't know. I feel like high school is like so back to back. It's like you have to do all this, but like college is like you can do things like they give you time like it's due on Friday or something. Like they kind of spread it out. I like that. Like I like that.
Michelle, biggest change for you?
Biggest change for me would probably be the classes too. Like the classes are really like different from like high school classes. So like. High school, they kind of like hold your hand through it. you're like, I mean, in high school, I was kind of going through the motions also. Like, my teachers would help me just going through the motions. But once I hit college, I'm like, whoa, I actually have to, like, get serious about this. I actually have to, you know, do something on my own. And that's not something that I've, like, been, like, brought up to do, especially since I'm, like, the last born. Like, people are usually, like, doing stuff for me or, like, helping me with something. But since it's college and everybody has their own, like, you know, things that they want to do, it's kind of, like, hard. It's kind of harder, but at the same time, with, like, the scheduling, it makes everything, like, 10 times more easier because you get to pick when you're free and, like, the times, and everything just works out.
Okay. What was the biggest challenge you faced? Your face just changed so quick. What do you have to say?
Okay, so, biggest challenge, like, in college?
Yeah,
or
college life, anything that, you know, anything that was including your lifetime from high school to college. What was your biggest challenge?
Biggest challenge? This probably isn't the biggest challenge, but it's probably just getting the hang of, like, the transition from high school to college. Like, it's a really big transition, and it's very different. Like, the two things are really different, and, like, I don't know. I remember one day, or, like, one time, first semester was rough. It was so rough. Like, I felt like everyone just didn't care, like, especially with, like, scheduling classes. I remember I had this history.
Everyone, as in, like, your professors and
well,
stuff?
like, it's just my professors. Okay. So, like, I had this professor that, like, he just did not care. Because at that time, I wasn't driving, and it was also an 8 a.m. class, which I already don't wake up early. So, like, really it was a struggle. So, my sister had to take me to class, like, every other morning. And at one point, I was, like, late. Like, I started to become late. And then I remember one day I was late for, what was it? After 1 minute. So it was 8:01 and I walked in, and he still marked me absent. And I was really like, at that point I just knew that there was something that he did not like. And then eventually, sadly, the class just was not working for me. So I'm now taking a better class this semester with a better teacher. And yeah, life was good.
Biggest challenge for you? It can be anything. Socially, spiritually.
I would say
psychologically, anything.
I would say studying, because, like, in high school, previously, like I said, I never really studied. So, like, when I got to college, I had a study, like, I'm like, this is going to breeze. My first exam for psychology, breeze. Okay, I got my score back. I'm like, whoa, what? So now I got to, like, change things around. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I don't know. We did this, like, calculations in the class talking about how many hours you have to spend studying outside of class, like 12 hours, 6 hours. Like, I have all these other classes to study for. How do I balance, like, this with that? Like, it's so hard. That was a challenge. Mm-hmm. Like, the study periods with other stuff. Like, I tend to study for the classes that I struggle in than the lecture one. Because, like, you know, I can always, the exam's, like, 2 weeks later. So, like, I have to do some last minute 2-day studying. But it's not like that. Like, you have to consistently study. Like, I cannot do 1 day. So that was a challenge. Like, studying was a challenge. I never really knew how to study. Up to now, I was like, I kind of can. Like, math, you can't really study. Just practice. But, like, classes, like, I have to do lecture, like, psychology, sociology, like, those classes, they're kind of hard for me because, like, I never really studied. It's always a textbook or something. Yeah. And we barely even use that stuff in class. It's like, I mean, they tell you to read it, but nobody reads it. But you should read it. But yeah, like, just studying was really challenging. And let's say, like, waking up for class wasn't really challenging because I never had, like, an early class last semester. Now I have, like, a 9-10, but that's okay. What else was challenging? Maybe, like, books. Like, the books and financial aid, everything was so stressful. Like, the whole process. Renewing it every semester is so stressful. Like, that's something I really hate. Like, it's just so stressful, getting your tax, everything. That was really challenging as well. Because I don't really have, like, an older sibling to, like, that done it before. So it's like, it was really challenging because I'm the first child that goes to college. So it's like,
everything was new for you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Everything was really new to me, but, you know, I have some support system.
Look, you're this example for your younger siblings now, you know? It'll be easy for them.
Yeah.
So thank her. Okay, for those of you who have just tuned in, this is Echoes of Grace. We are here with Judith and Michelle discussing college life in general questions about it, topic,
So yeah. My next question would be, how easy or difficult is it to maintain a good relationship with God in school? Do you find yourself right now where are you with your Christian walk with God? Like, do you think that right now things are going well, it's smooth, doing your quiet times every day, or is it getting rough? Is it hard?
Well, I can say is when I was like closer, like when I was at home through high school and everything, it's like, it's like a routine to go to church on Sunday and stuff like that. So it's like, I feel like those things kind of help me build my Christian life because, like, I got to do this and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But, sorry, now that I'm, like, in college, it's like, I kind of, like, moved away from that. It's like, now, like, whenever I have to do that, it's like, I set that last because I have, like, other things to do, mm-hmm. Which is not a good thing.
It's not really a priority for you.
It's not a priority for me.
Okay.
But, yeah, so I kind of feel like I'm lacking, like, God. Like, yeah, I feel like I'm lacking God, and I need to get back to that because these classes I'm taking now, only you can do it right now. But, yeah, it kind of changed. It was, like, a different transition. Mm-hmm. I was, like, went into my class.
Yeah. I'd say... it's getting there. It's all a work in progress. But I'm definitely, like, since last year, I've definitely grown a bit. I can't say it was where it was before, but I'm definitely still growing. With mixing school and, like, your spiritual life is always, I feel like it's always hard for everybody because, I don't know, I feel like school takes, like, a lot out of you, like, emotionally, physically, like, it takes a lot from you. And then, like, usually, sometimes the last thing that is on your mind is, like, praying. Well, not praying, but, like, the last thing on your mind is, like, talking to God. Right. Because, like, you're so stressed about, like, what is right in front of you.
Passing your classes.
Yeah, about passing classes and doing well in classes that we forget about, our top priority. Mm-hmm. And, I don't know, it's always just, like, hard. But, I mean, we can always do better.
Yeah, I think I know somewhere in the Bible, like, it talks about how we should examine ourselves and stuff, and I feel like all that fits in. Like, when school and stuff is, like, taking over, like, we really have to sit down and examine ourselves, like, okay, what am I really doing? What are my priorities here? Like, why are things getting, because so many times, especially, during the semesters and stuff, I mean, summertime, it's summer, so all you're really doing is really working or traveling or whatever. Mm-hmm. So it's like you have a lot more time for God. But then when you're in school, it's like you have all these assignments and, like, all these things coming to you at once. It's sometimes hard to balance. But mm-hmm. I just say, just, like, every day you wake up, just really examine yourself, because every day you wake up is a gift. And it's like, who gave it to you, right? That's what has been, like, I don't know, throughout, like, the past year, that's, like, what I've been thinking about, like, okay, I'm awake, and it's a blessing, so let me just, thank God, do what I have to do, try to keep him in my life, I don't want to say incorporate him in my life, because it's, like, he is my life, so I shouldn't have to incorporate him in it, but...
Things should, like, work around him, basically.
Yeah, and not everything else work around,
around us.
Yeah. So, yeah, I get that, college and school and even just family stuff.
Finding
just
balance.
So many, finding balance is kind of hard. But with God we move. All things are possible. So just keep doing your quiet times. Keep talking to God. Keep praying, all of that. So, yeah. All right. College life. Why do you keep smiling when I say that? College life. Have you experienced any peer pressures? Smoking, drinking, relationships, sex, any of that? Be open, be realistic, be true. I mean, it's a natural thing in college. It's a natural thing in life, but in college, like, you're on your own by yourself. You're out there, and it's like, all these things, all these challenges are real. You face them every day. So how have you been handling that?
I mean, personally, I'm not even, like, on campus. I'm at home, so, like, I'm not really, what's the word, like...
Have to deal too much.
Yeah, I don't have to deal with a lot of that, but I do have friends that go to other schools that, like, sometimes, like, if we want to hang out, then, I mean, yeah, but I wouldn't really say that, like, I'm in an environment where I'm, like, tempted to, like smoke or, like, do any of that, but, I mean... I feel like even, like going to a party is fine. I mean, we're all young. I mean, let's be honest.
Okay. Judith? Do you feel pressure to join in on these activities? I mean, you're on your own in an apartment down by campus, so do you feel, with the freedom that you're now getting, do you feel pressure to join in on these activities?
I mean, me personally, I don't feel pressured because I know who I hang out with and I know my friends, so like,
which is very key. Your friend group, your friend circle, really, very key.
My friends don't engage in like activities like that, so I don't do it as well. But I mean, I met new people and stuff, and there's a couple parties I've attended, but I just tend to stay away from like drinking and smoking and stuff like that. Yeah. But I'm not saying people who do it are bad people or anything. Like, that's totally fine with you if you're okay with it. But yeah,
that's just not
I don't feel pressured. Like, I don't. It's fun. Enjoy life.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice take on it. Okay. Do you think that that's because of how you were raised, how your parents brought you up? Is that something that you just personally yourself, like, how do you feel about that? Like not doing activities? Or? Yeah, because there's so many people, like so many people in your church and my church and in the churches who, it's not as easy for them to say no to smoking, or it's not as easy for them to say no to, drinking and stuff. Yeah, so what do you feel like makes you different?
Well, so at at my church. Mm-hmm. Like, we have youth, of course, like everybody else. So I feel like when you're, like, exposed to these things, like, when you get into the real world, like, you don't do these things. Because, like, I feel like if you're so blinded about, like, if you're, like, nobody taught you about drugs or smoking, drinking, you would never know it's bad. And you go try it outside in the real world. So I like how, like, they kind of encourage us, like, not to do those things. Like, this is there. Parties like this are there. Like... They like inform you. They inform you before like you get there. So like I kind of like that benefit. So like it didn't really like bother me because I know these things were bad. Like, I wouldn't want to, get like drugged. Like I know about these things. You get a drink from somebody, don't take it. Like there's like things that like teach you. I mean, some parents wouldn't teach you these things, but I feel like church, like mentors, like even like health class in school, like those things teach you. Like so like I never felt pressured, or I never felt like obligated or forced to do these things because
you're educated on it.
Yeah, I'm educated. So like if I didn't know, I'm like,
okay, so what about the other people who grew up the same way you did, who grew up in the same church you did, but they're out there?
Probably they don't value like their morals. Like they don't. I mean, I feel like once you get into college, you just don't care. Like, you're free. You can do whatever you want. You're free to do whatever you want. So, like, if you see someone, like, drinking or smoking, like, you're going to want to do that, too. Right. Like, I feel like it's all about the mind, too. It's about how strong your mind is. If you're not strong enough to say no, then obviously you're going to give in. But if you know in your mind and in your heart that this is not right and this is not who I am and this is not who I was brought up to be, then I feel like there's a strong chance that you're not going to engage in something like that.
Okay. And I feel like it's kind of one out of these two things. Like it's either I forgot what I was gonna say. Something about, you just said something that triggered the thought, but
training the mind. It's all about the mind.
Dang, I just forgot what I was gonna say. Okay.
But like you said about the people who are not like educated about these things, I feel like even if you're not educated, like you still know like the risk like that happens. Like like if you do this is the risk that's gonna happen. Like there's like things. I mean, there's some people who are also blinded by it, like
We're just curious.
who are curious and want to
curiosity.
try it. I mean, there's nothing wrong being curious, but it's like they
There's
put
a
you,
lot.
they put
There's
you
a
in the
lot wrong
hospital.
with being curious. Curiosity is a trap.
Yeah.
It's a trap, but we're all curious. But it's like,
Yeah.
do we go for it? Do we risk it all? Sometimes you just want to risk. You just
Yeah.
want to risk and just do it.
You risk
But
try it when
I feel like
something
we all
happens.
take risk at one point of our lives. Like
Right.
we're all still growing. We're all still, and like,
but I guess it's just not like dwelling or staying in that,
yeah.
risk, or however you want to put it.
Okay.
So what keeps you grounded? Is it the way you were raised? Is it your relationship with God? Is it like what keeps you away from these things?
I feel like like the way I was raised, like in the
Your
church.
parents play a big role.
Yeah, like I was like, literally in the church like my whole life. So it's like these things are bad, so don't do it. So it's like, and then also, being a Christian, like there's certain things that you shouldn't do because it won't lead you to a good path. So it's like I feel like studying and listening to the word also like humbled me, kind of. So I would say that kept me grounded.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything to add on?
Definitely the way that I was raised. I mean, I don't know who would raise their. I mean, there's some people that.
Some people. The thing is, some parents don't talk to their. Like you said, some people don't talk to their kids about like things like this. So
Yeah.
when it's like a culture shock kind of thing. When they step into college, it's like, wow, all this is new, and nobody talks to me about this. So
this stuff. They want to try it. Like
They want to try it themselves and like experience it. That college life.
I feel like as parents, that's something like they lack. Like you gotta talk to them about these things. You gotta be open with your kids. Like if you're not open with your kids, then they're gonna go doing some bad stuff you won't like. But you never told them that was wrong. So like, how do we know? Like we're blind. You guys brought us to the world. You're gonna raise us and tell us what to do. But there's also those people who know and do the opposite.
There's people that know and just don't care.
But
like,
I feel like it should be someone.
I think
in your
that's
life.
when peer pressure comes into play.
Yeah.
Because if you know like the risk of it, if you know like all the things that come with it, like smoking is like one of the biggest risk factors in literally every diagnosis, and like drinking, alcoholism, like that's like one of the leading, like not leading, but it's one of the biggest risk factors. Like every disease you can think of is like one of the top risk factors. So it's like you're educated on this and you know this, but sometimes it's just that peer pressure, and sometimes it just gets people. So if you're out there and you're about to go to college, choose your friends wisely, choose your environment wisely. Just don't put yourself in a situation where it's like you can't get out of it.
Yeah. Friends definitely play like a really big role because
really big role.
I mean, not to throw a few people under the bus, but I do have some friends that are like some of them.
You don't know.
We all have
No.
We all have.
Yeah, I feel like we all have that friend that like just gives into that kind of things, and it's like. Do you do it or not? And then like you just have to. It all goes back to your morals and like how you view yourself and what you know is right.
How do you view yourself?
What do you mean? Elaborate.
Yeah, elaborate.
Like your self-esteem, like your worth. How do you view yourself?
I mean, I'm definitely
As a young lady, a young black woman in today's society, how do you view yourself?
That's a deep question.
Self-love, how important is that to you?
I mean, you gotta
Very
love
important.
you. Gotta love yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta love yourself. Encourage yourself. Watch motivational things. Like when things put you down, like just talk to yourself. Like I'm beautiful. Like I'm this. Like
Do you think it's important to love yourself before getting into relationships?
Yeah, I feel like you should love I feel like you need to love yourself before you love somebody else. Like, if you don't love yourself, like, how can you love someone else?
You can't give what you don't have.
Like, honestly, like,
if you don't love yourself, like, how can you like love somebody else? How can you? I don't know.
it's like you're teaching somebody something like you don't even know how to do it yourself. Like how can you teach me when you don't even know? Like
exactly.
You know, like
okay,
you know,
good
it's
point
like
of view. Good point of view.
y'all both can't be lost. Like I don't know, you gotta love yourself.
Okay. Relationships is a big thing in college, isn't it? Would you say?
Is.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would say.
How do you see dating as a young adult? Like, what are your views on it? How old are you again?
19.
19, 18.
Okay. You guys are growing, you know. How do you feel about dating?
I think there's nothing wrong with it. I just feel like you should know your limits and how far you can go. Because
How far can you go?
I don't know. I don't know.
You really don't know.
I don't know how far I could. I mean, obviously, don't get pregnant. I mean, that's what you want me to say.
Don't get pregnant, that's it? That's it, just avoid getting pregnant?
I mean, don't get hurt. I feel like, you can date. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, we were created to date and, you know, multiply. So, there's nothing wrong with that.
You're created to date and multiply.
Not date, but like, you know, we're supposed to multiply. So I mean, there's nothing.
You're created to what? Get married
and
get
multiply.
Right, get married and multiply.
But I mean, I don't see.
But in order to get married, you have to date.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like that's something that just some people just don't understand.
Some people being
African parents, our beloved African parents.
I feel like limits and limits and stuff like that. I mean, you know how far you can go.
Are your parents okay with you being in relationships? Do you talk to your parents about this stuff? Are you
I never
open
really
with them?
talked to my parents about stuff like that. So I'm not really sure because I don't know.
Okay.
So I don't know.
What about you?
I mean, am I like? Are you asking like, am I open with talking about it?
To your parents? Yeah.
I mean, I could be, but sometimes I just won't go to that topic. Like probably more of my mother.
Who do you go to when you want to talk about things? She goes to me, guys. Just letting you know.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, I do go to her if I want to talk about stuff like that. With my parents, I feel like they take things differently. But
yeah, and I'm starting to understand. Like it's just like where they come from, how they were raised, and you know, like at some point, my mom thought that like every time like I say the word boyfriend, she'd automatically think sex. But I think that's just like a general thing, honestly, with a lot of our parents out there. But it's just, and I was just explaining to her like that's not always the case. Just because I say boyfriend does not mean sex. Just throwing that word out there is just like a trigger. So I feel like sometimes it's even just in how you talk to your parents and saying, just letting them know like this is not what I mean by this, and this is not what I mean by this. But But yeah. Are you guys in? No, let's not talk about that. Okay,
I'm not.
All right. Okay. How do you feel about Christianity? Do you feel like living as God wants us to live, living a holy life? Is that easy for you? Is that hard for you? How do you feel about it?
I mean, there's times where it's hard.
Do you want to elaborate on that?
Like, I'm not gonna lie, being a Christian is really hard. I feel that's very hard. Like, there's a lot of things you do. It's like, sin. Don't do this. It's not good. Like, it's really hard. But, I mean, everybody can conquer and...
It's really hard.
It's just really hard. Because, like, there's, like, so much, like, limitations, boundaries, and stuff like that. And it's, like the world we live in, it's, like, people are making it okay. So, it's, like, it kind of, like, confuses, like, the whole, like, Christianity is, like, okay, you're doing this. But it's, like, it's just, like, very confusing.
You think that Christianity is confusing?
I wouldn't say Christianity is confusing, but like I feel like the peer pressure on the world, it's kind of changing. I feel like it's not the same with the society.
The environment.
I feel like it's not the same as how it was. It's like a lot of things are like being okay,
acceptable,
acceptable and stuff. But yeah,
because we learned that like it's being like a Christian or a child of God is like really all about grace. We learned that. It's grace that the reason that we are we can go to heaven is because of grace. You know what I mean? Because like it's not about the things that we do or don't do. It's not about our works, but it's about, just believing in Jesus and just,
Right.
accepting him and
Having
just believing he's
faith.
the Son of God, just having faith. So, in that aspect, I wouldn't say that being a Christian is hard because, honestly, we don't really, I don't know, I feel like we don't really have to do much, but just believe in God. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, believe in
but
Jesus. Jesus
is-
died for our sins. But then, like,
That's not the only thing that's gonna save you, though.
that's true. That's true, because you do have to think about, like, the sins and all that, how that comes into play.
Like,
I feel like that's the part that's like
right,
hard.
because even like today.
But I once heard that, like, I'm sorry, I cut you off, but I once heard that, like, you don't go to hell for sins, you go for unbelief.
Mm-hmm.
Is that true?
Pastor Mike Todd. Is it true?
I mean, it sounds accurate, but I mean, I don't know. That will be up to God.
Is that true, Mr. Elder Bismark?
The question again.
You don't go to hell for your sinning, you go for disbelief. True. Okay. So then what's the point of working so hard to not sin
To be
when you
the-
have
the
grace?
good, right.
I mean, I feel like it all starts with like love. Like, do we love God like as much to like just be good people?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Because we are supposed to be God's image. Like, we're supposed to like reflect Him. So like if He's not reflected in our lives,
then what are we doing here? Like,
right? So it's like,
Do you feel like you're a good example?
let's just be honest.
Yeah.
no, I don't
Yes.
think I'm a good example.
Really?
Like I'm working towards being that better
Mm-hmm.
Christian. Cause like right now, I feel like I'm not lost, but it's like I know, but it's like just like the school, like the pressure and everything's like making me like fade away from God. So I just need to come back.
Yeah.
I need to come back.
It's good that you realize that, I guess that's the first step, realizing, like, examine yourself, realize where am I in my walk with God, and then do something about it.
Because
Yeah.
you can rededicate yourself. It's not like God will forgive you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Don't think that's it. It's not.
Okay. Once again, for anybody who has just joined, this is Echoes of Grace on Holyhills Radio. We're discussing college life. Well, we were discussing college life, but it's, been flowing and going in all different types of directions. So just stick with us. Okay. How do you deal with your insecurities? I feel like the people with the biggest insecurities are young adults, teenagers and young adults. Maybe not the biggest, but the most prevalent, like the most, you notice it most in the young adults.
Yeah.
How do you deal with it? How do you come to terms with it? How do you get past your insecurities?
I wouldn't say I'm past my insecurities. I mean, I still have insecurities, but
Why? Do you believe you're not enough?
I mean, sometimes I mean, it's like I feel like everybody is like different. It's like people have their personal insecurities, but like I guess like what people think maybe might be somebody's insecurity, or like just basically maybe something like that, or like how people view like just dressing, like stuff like that, are little insecurities people may have. But I don't know. I mean, we all have something that we're insecure about, but
Yeah.
I mean, I would say like what might help that, maybe like what I do, like when I'm feeling down or something, I like to watch motivational like videos and stuff. That keeps me like lifted up. It's like somebody telling you, because like you can't. It's like sometimes it's hard to open up to other people. So it's like you have to try to like find your like your inner
Outlet.
your outlet. So it's like
So what, you talk to yourself?
I don't necessarily talk to myself.
You talk to God?
Yeah, I talk to God, but sometimes you need like a physical person there, like and it's like how do you like, let's say somebody in my case, let's say I'm scared, like I'm shy, I don't know how to talk. You have like strong points to say, like things like that. Like how do you like reach out to somebody? Like what are some steps you could take to reach out like to somebody?
What do you mean?
Like let's say you're insecure,
Mm-hmm.
you're scared, like how would a person like that like open up to someone? Like what are some steps like they can take?
I would say the first thing to do is to find somebody that you trust. You know, find somebody that you trust and you believe can help you. I mean, because I agree, like, I can't just go around telling everybody my problems, and, because, you know, trust is a big thing, like,
Right.
I feel like if I don't trust you, I can't open up to you, because I don't know what your motives are. Are you going to help me? Are you going to tell everybody my problems? Like, once you find somebody that you can trust, then, you know, it's easier to open up with them. Sometimes those people, I feel like, is supposed to be our parents, generally, but a lot of times I feel like a lot of young people, like, we can't really go to our parents because, you know, we fear we're going to be judged, or they're going to get mad, or they're going to, you know, not handle the situation appropriately, you know. Sometimes we go to our older siblings. Sometimes we are the older siblings, so who do we go to, right?
Right.
Just finding that person that you can trust, you know, because I get that. Like, sometimes, you know, you talk to God and you vent to God, but sometimes you just feel like
You need somebody physically there.
Yeah.
Tap you. It's okay.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know. It's like really hard, and I don't think I really answered the question. What's our insecurities? I feel like it's like something personal. Like I don't know. Like
I feel
like
like
what I would
something
say,
you're
like-
learning.
yeah.
Okay.
I feel like
That's
insecurities
fair.
always linger. It's just like how to grow with them and grow out of them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Okay. Anything else you guys want to discuss, bring up? Any questions that you have? Now would be the time.
Some questions. So, like, okay, so like now that I'm in college, right? It's taking it's gonna take some time. It's gonna take forever. So like, let's say people might think I'm thinking too ahead of like my life right now, but it's like how. So like, let's say I graduate. Like, what time do I fit in? Like let's say trying to find someone at the same time like graduate. Like, how do I like fit? How would I feel like dating into it, like, or something like you know, everybody's like, oh, gotta get married after that, have children, like, you know, like I don't know, it's not like African parents have this like set
The thing,
plan, but it's like,
yeah, I get what
how
you're
do I
saying.
like fit everything in? I feel like you have to do this, like I'm like obligated to do all this stuff. It's like one step at a time, you know. But it's
Yeah.
like,
You know, I'm gonna give
How do I-
African parents a break here, because it's not just
balance.
them.
Like, it's not just them.
Yeah.
You're
It's
right.
a
How do I balance it?
like a society kind of thing. Like, everybody's like kind of not rushing or racing, or like everybody's on the set timetable where it's like, okay, first I'm going to go to college for 4 years. After college, I'm going to take a year break and to work. After that, I'm going to get married. Well, were you even dating? How are you going to
Right,
get married?
how
Oh,
do I
but guess
balance?
what?
Do I
I'm going to
wait?
get married.
Do I start? Like,
I'm gonna have
how
kids.
do I know?
Yeah. Like, everybody's on a set timetable, but you
just
really
different.
don't know where your life is
Yeah.
going to go. You literally just
Honestly.
surrender to God, because
Right.
you would think that, okay, I'm going to get married at 25 or something, and then 25 comes and like, dang, I'm not even dating anybody, or
Yeah.
like something like that, and it's just gonna, that's honestly, it's just gonna depress you
Yeah, I
more
feel
than it should. I just feel like you just surrender it to God, and just, I'm in a place right now where I'm more like, go with the flow.
Yeah. Go with his flow.
Go with his flow. Yeah, it's like, okay, God, like, this is what I'm facing. I'm just gonna tell you my problems, and if you want to take me this way, okay, let's go. If you want to take me this way, let's go. Kind of go with the flow, because I feel like I've learned that, like, planning everything how you see it is just not gonna work.
Yeah.
Right.
Because it's good to plan. It's good to have, you know, your goals and what you want to do, and then you pray about it, you leave it to God. But I feel like if you're the type of person who's, it has to go this way, and it has to go this way, like, you have to learn how to
everybody has their
organize
own
things, because
Yeah.
path,
everybody's path is different,
Right. Okay.
and you don't know where you're gonna end up. You don't know how your life is gonna go in the next week, in the next
Then you have all
month,
these people
next
on
year.
your tail telling you gotta do this, gotta do this. Like,
Yeah.
do I not hold my own future? Like, why do I have to, like,
And that's just like
why do you have
society's
to pressure me?
pressures.
Like, you
yeah.
know?
But honestly, I mean, it's definitely easier said than done. Easier to say, okay, I'm just going to surrender all to God, because sometimes we just want to take, you know, control and just do it ourselves and do whatever. But then that's when things get even worse and
Right.
messier. So honestly, just surrender to God and just be like, God, if you want to take me here, let's go. If you want to go here, let's go.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I wouldn't be so fixated on like timetables, even though it's hard because society's telling you have to do this now, here, there. Like
you only
right
at
after
a certain time you won't be
right.
successful to this year. Like, oh my lord, like it's,
I feel like the youth kind of have to be that change to be like, you know, it doesn't always have to go this way, and it always doesn't have to be married at like 25, hide your kids 28, like.
And you know, I see a lot of that lately. Like it's more like people are like, okay, this is how your timetable is, but this is not how mine is. Like, I see it on social media. I see people like changing the status quo. Like, okay, it's not gonna be like this. Yeah. Okay, I see that a lot. I think that's a plus. It's a good thing that, you know, people are starting to realize that not everything has to go in this set order.
Right.
Because that could leave people just.
Yeah. Society definitely plays a big role in that.
Yeah.
Because everybody wants to like. I don't know. Everybody wants to just be that person that, oh, I'm married. Oh, I had my first kid. Like, just go at God's flow, go at God's time, and everything will fall into place.
It might take somebody 6 years to graduate, you like 3. Like, it's like, it's kind of different for everybody. Like, you know,
if you start comparing yourself to other people,
oh my lord, that's something. That is something. I want to say African parents like just
speak.
Parents like I just hate being compared. Like, I'm sorry. Like, don't compare me to other people.
Literally, that feeds into so much insecurity.
So much.
Being compared to, like, so-and-so's son or so-and-so's daughter. Yeah. Oh, they're doing this. Why aren't you? That is just so... If we could all just stop doing that, that would be amazing. And we can live our life happy. Right. But comparison is just... Because if it's other people who are supposed to love and support you are the ones who are comparing you to other people... Then you start, you know, doubting yourself, kind of, and you start questioning yourself, like
insecurity as well, because like it makes me feel like I'm like behind. Like, okay, I'm sorry that they can't do that. So it's like making me feel like I have to like be that person, or I have to do better. Like it's like making me feel like I need to rush, and it's like it gives me all this pressure. Like that's something I hate.
Yeah, it adds a lot of pressure.
I do not like that. I hate being compared. Like everybody has their own time, their own pace to do things. You rush. Messes it, like you shouldn't rush.
And look, we're supposed to be examples of God. You know, God doesn't compare us. He loves us all the same.
Exactly.
So as humans, let's just love each other the same and just support each other and not, you know, compare. Because comparison kills. It does.
Sure does.
Yeah. I think that wraps up today's session of Echoes of Grace. So thank you for tuning in. Once again, it was Queen Joyce, your hostess.
Michelle,
Judith.
Okay, thank you guys for joining me today. See you next time. Next month.
Peace.